Welcome to the Australian Athletics Championships, the 92nd edition, and the Commonwealth Games trials. We're here at Lakeside Stadium in Melbourne, and I can tell you it's a chilly 15, 16 degrees, a light breeze blowing, a little bit of cloud coverage, and the action is underway. We've got the combined events kicking things off here. We've got the women's under-17s, 100 metres, hurdles. They've been on behind us, and we've got the under-18s coming up very shortly. My name's Dave Robbo. I'll be here on the tartan couch for the next few days, joined by a few other friends, bringing the action of the 92nd Australian Athletics Championships to you. I tell you what, everything's on the line here. These are spots to Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games later this year. Only 111 days to go until those Commonwealth Games, and there's a lot of excitement brewing already around the track here ahead of the next few days. We're going to just shoot upstairs. We're going to catch the next race. So this is the Heptathlon combined events, and just to point out, it's also the Oceania and Australian Combined Events Championships today. So we've got coming up next the under-18 heptathlon, 100 metre hurdles, and we'll have a bit of a look at the action. Session 1 today will be going from until 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Session 2 will be back on air from 4 till 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So we'll be bringing you all the action. You can follow the updates on Twitter as well. Follow at AthsAust. Also the official hashtag of the meet, it's hashtag AAC14, and you can also get in touch with us using the hashtag TartanCouch. And you know, we've got Clyde here. He's the official mascot for the Commonwealth Games. He's going to be saddling up for the entire meet as well. So we look forward to having your company for the next few days. But we're going to see some of the action now, and I'll head upstairs and call some of the races coming up this morning. So only moments away from a start here in the women's heptathlon, the under-20 women's, and this is the 100-metre hurdles. And from lane 2 from New South Wales, Alicia Burnett. Lane 3 from Victoria, Carly Whitford. Lane 4 from Queensland, Christy Malloy. From South Australia in lane 5, Christine Gayen. From Queensland in lane 6, Cassid Simmons. In WA, Ellis Solon in lane 7. And from New Zealand, Paige Harwood, lane 8. Whoop, just a slight early movement there from the Queenslander, Christy Malloy there in lane 4, I think it was. We'll see them come back. So the entire field getting a warning there. Everyone still in the race. And apologies, folks. I've got the sheet for the second of the timed finals. Keep you updated with the runners in this first of the women's under-20 100-metre hurdles. Apologies for that. So we see Shannon O'Dempsey from Queensland taking out the first of 2 finals in the under-20 women's heptathlon, 100-metre hurdles, and in a time of 14:64. So a good win there from the Queenslander. Cara Moody from Victoria, second in 15:38. And results coming through here. Yuki Hiroshi from South Australia, third place in 16:72. So just the full results there in the first final of 2 in the women's under-20 100-metre hurdles for heptathlon. And it was Shannon O'Dempsey from Queensland in first, Cara Moody from Victoria second, Yuki Hiroshi from South Australia third, Laura Collins from Victoria fourth, Emily Charlson from Queensland in fifth, and rounding them out, Morgan Power in sixth. And we'll have the second of 2 finals underway very shortly. So the second of two finals here. Alicia Burnett, lane 1. Carly Whitford, lane 2. Christy Malloy, lane 3. Christine Gain, 4. Cassidy Simmons, 6. Ella Solon, 7. Paige Harwood. And we see, it looks like Simmons, she's going to take this one out. A late challenge there from the inside lane, Alicia Burnett, but it's Simmons all the way from Queensland there in an unofficial time of 14.64. Great early racing over the hurdles here. This is the women's under-20 heptathlon. And the Queenslander Simmons, 14.63, taking the win there. And coming up next for these ladies will be the high jump. Just standing by for the other results in that second final. Alicia Burnett from New South Wales pushing hard on the inside there. She came through in second place with a 15.02. So just running through our final results there in that last race, the women's under-20 second final in the heptathlon women's 100 metre hurdles. And it was Cassidy Simmons from Queensland taking out the win, from Alicia Burnett, New South Wales, second. Third place, Paige Harwood from New Zealand. And from WA, fourth place was Ella Solin. Fifth place was Carly Whitford from Victoria, Christine Gain from South Australia taking 6th, and Christy Malloy from Queensland in 7th. And just interestingly, it's worth noting that these races and these events, these combined events, form part of a selection trial for the World Junior Championships coming up in Oregon later this year over in America. And the women's under-20 event, as we've just seen there, they'll be contesting the high jump, I believe, next. So World Junior spots on the line here, as well as Commonwealth Games positions as well. So plenty on the line here at the Australian Athletics Championships. Setting up their blocks next, we see the men, and this is in the combined event and the men's decathlon. We're going to see the under-20 men's decathlon 100 metres. So no hurdles, just the 100 flat. So it'll be the under-20 men's leading us out, and then we'll move on to the under-17 men's and then the under-18 men's as well. So up next, the men's decathlon under 20, the 100 metres. So 10 events for these guys over the next couple of days. Looking to take it out hard, get some big points on the board early here, set themselves up for a great event. So as we mentioned, not only national championships on the line here, but Oceania championships as well. And these championships are incorporated into the 92nd Australian Athletics Champs held this week at Lakeside Stadium, Melbourne. The open decathlon and heptathlon also form round one of the IAAF Combined Events Challenge. And the Oceania Championships medals will be awarded to the Open Under-20 and via a combined result, combining the Under-17s and Under-18. So some silverware on the line for these athletes. As we see the men's Under-20 decathlon, 100 metres lining up, and I can tell you our starters from lane 1 from Victoria. We have Blake Price. Lane 2 from Victoria, Scott Sidley. From lane 3 from South Australia, Cam Rudge. Lane 4 from Queensland, Cedric Dubler. Lane 5 from Victoria, David Thompson. Lane 6 from ACT, Lachlan Colvert. Lane 7 from Queensland, James Coles. And from New Zealand in lane 8, Aaron Booth. As we see Blake Price from Victoria in lane 1 there getting a bit excited. So a nervous Blake Price, just contemplating that edgy false start there. He's been warned by the officials that he'll get another start here. We've got a full field of 8 athletes here. Look for Cedric Dubler in the middle lanes from Queensland. Just taking a little bit extra time here. Runner in the yellow spikes. And Cedric Dubler got out there with a good start. The runner in the yellow spikes. He's out in front of the Queenslander. But coming at him is the runner from ACT, Lachlan Colvert. But it looks like it's going to be Dubler from Queensland, and he takes that one in an unofficial time of 11:20. The Canberra and Lachlan Calvert coming in second there. So they're on their way, the men's under-20 decathlon. Big program ahead for these guys, and that's just the first 100 metres completed for them, and it was Cedric Dubler from Queensland, a prolific social media user. We'll see him on Instagram and Twitter, and he's quite a handy photographer as well. You might have seen some of his work up at the Queensland meets, but in second place there I can tell you was from the ACT, Lachlan Colvert in 11:38. Third place from Victoria, Scott Sidley in 11:47. Aaron Booth from New Zealand coming in fourth in 11:49. David Thompson from Victoria in 11:53, and we'll just await the final few results to come through there. Blake Price, after his false start, the Victorian, 11:72 to finish in 6th position. As we see Price on screen there. He's going to recover. James Coles came in 7th from Queensland in a 12.10. And rounding them out was Cam Rudge from South Australia in a 12.34. Light breeze down at trackside. We'll see if we can get a wind reading for you. Looks to be slightly favouring the sprinters coming from the tail. So conditions not too bad. A little bit cool down here trackside. high cloud, hopefully no rain, but we'll keep you posted with the action. And we've got some field events coming up as well, and we'll let you know what's happening there. The discus, javelin, high jump. Plenty to feast on here at the Australian Athletics Championships and Combined Events Championships for Oceania. So we've got a combined race coming up here. This is the men's decathlon under 17 and under 18s, and in the under 17s in lane 2 from Queensland, Theo Watson. In lane 3 from Tasmania, Matthew Hosey. In lane 4 from Victoria, Tom Tanojevic. And then we move to the under 18s and out in lane 6 from New South Wales, Zachariah Simonovic. In lane 7 from Victoria, we have Lewis Kane. And in lane 8 from Tasmania, Samuel Alderson. This is the decathlon men's 100 metres. It's a combined event between the under 17s and under 18s. Good results there. So they're away in the combined under 17s, under 18s men's 100 metres decathlon. And it's a pretty evenly run field. The Tasmanian on the outside looking pretty good, but we see the New South Welshman might just take it. Ooh, that was close. I'm calling that very, very close. It's going to need to employ the photo finish software there. But it looks like it might have been the New South Welshman, Zachariah Simonovic, but the Tasmanian, Samuel Alderson, just on the outside. Not much between the under 17s and the under 18s there. So, a great race. Only a breath of wind down there at trackside, 0.1 tailwind. And some impressive specimens here in the combined events. These guys have got to be able to run not only fast over the sprints, but middle distance. They've got to be able to throw. They've got to be able to jump as well. So these are the complete athlete. Often known as the toughest athletes in the world. And we'll see some of our stars in the open multi-sports coming out later this afternoon in session 2. And the men's open decathlon and the women's open heptathlon. Look for names like Jake Steen and Sophie Stanwell, who both of them already have qualifiers. And they'll be looking to take out the win here at the Nationals and hopefully cement their place for an automatic nomination and cement their place in the Comm Games Australian team. That's the end of the track action for a little while now. We'll be turning our attention to the field events, and we've got plenty going on. And I can tell you we've got the final of the men's and women's discus throw secured. That'll be coming up pretty shortly. They're just getting things sorted there with the officials in the cage. We've also got the final of the men's javelin throw ambulant, and they've had some warm-ups. The officials are all in readiness, and that'll be kicking off any minute. We've also moving on to the women's under 20 heptathlon. They'll be taking on the high jump, so they've just finished their 100-metre hurdles, and so they've got a little warm-up. Legs are already pumping, and they'll be looking to get over that high jump bar very shortly. And just introducing your fields for the secured flight discus throw, the men's and women's. And we've got from South Australia, Lenore Ernst, Victoria, Bridie Moore, and from South Australia, Amanda Chark. And they'll be throwing the 1 kilogram discus. And then we've got the men's will be throwing at the same time. And we've got from Queensland, Ben Lorimer. From Victoria, Jesse Wyatt. From Queensland, Darren McKenna. From Victoria, Dennis Ramsey. And from New South Wales, Craig Jarrett. They'll also be throwing the 1 kilogram implement. And this will be the combined event in the secured flight discus throw. We've also got the men's Javelin ambulant about to commence their first throws. This is a final as well, and I can tell you we've got a field of 7 in this event. And from Queensland, we've got Jason Latisse in the F44. From Jaden Sawyer, we've got from ACT, my apologies, we've got from the ACT, Jaden Sawyer in the F38 division. From New Zealand, Jacob Phillips in the T35. From South Australia, Sam Page in the F37 classification. From New Zealand, Daniel Jennings in the T35 classification. Rory McSweeney from New Zealand in the F44 classification. And from New South Wales, Jake Barker in the F46 classification. We see Jaden Sawyer from the ACT throwing the javelin out there. These guys are using the 800 gram implements this morning. See the athlete from South Australia coming in there. That might be a foul, I think, as the red flag does go up there. That was Sam Page from South Australia. He's throwing the 600 gram implement, so there's some differences depending on the categories here. And so Jacob Phillips, Sam Page and Daniel Jennings, they'll be throwing the 600 gram jab, and the other guys will be throwing the 800. tell you, the wind, it's an interesting phenomenon down here at Lakeside Stadium, as we see the New South Welshman throwing the jab out there. That'll be Daniel Jennings, I think. So the wind is certainly swirling around. The wind sock at the javelin throwing area is showing that it's from behind them. The one in the middle of the field was showing it was going towards them, and actually is a little bit dead at the moment. So there's obviously some changeable winds out there at ground level. But there's not too much to report at this stage. No rain. Clouds getting higher and higher. We might even see the sun poke through for the afternoon session. Bit of blue sky to match the beautiful blue track here at Lakeside Stadium, as we see the next in the javelin throwing it out there. That is a big throw. Gets the applause there from the crowd. And that was McSweeney. Great throw there from Rory McSweeney from New Zealand. It's great to see we've got an international flavour here today. And that was Jake Baker from New South Wales there, throwing a good first throw out there. In the men's ambulant javelin throw, they'll be getting 6 attempts. And we're just at the late stages of round 1 at the moment. We're going to be taking a look at the secure discus in a few moments as well. The men and women, they're in the cage, in the circle. Looks like the big Queenslander, Jason Latisse, coming in to the runway now. Throws it out there, the big left-hander. And he's got some good purchase on that one. Jason's in the F44 classification. The white flag goes up, and that's an impressive first throw. Unfortunately, we can't get you the exact distances that these throws are going at the moment. But conditions do look promising for javelin this morning. As the crowd builds here at Lakeside Stadium, you're watching the 92nd Australian Athletics Championships. And we're here for the full 4 days. Today is just day 1. We'll be going through till Sunday afternoon, where we'll be crowning a host of national champions, and a number of athletes will be booking their place on the plane to Glasgow. This is Jaden Sawyer from the ACT. Another left-hander. And he's got that one out there as well. Maybe a touch further than Jason Latisse from Queensland. Sawyer in the F38 classification. As we see Daniel Jennings from New South Wales coming in. I think he's got a mark there. White flag's gone up, so that's good news for Daniel. He's in the T35 classification. And it looks like the big Kiwi, Rory McSweeney, coming up for his second throw. It was impressive in the first round of this men's ambulant javelin. Obviously inspired by his countryman, Stuart Farquhar, Olympic finalist in the javelin. As we see Rory McSweeney coming in here now. The big Kiwi, a lot of pace. He lets it go, and that's out there. One of our bigger throws for the morning. White flag's up. As the officials mark that one there, but that's great to see. Conditions looking pretty good down there. As Jake Baker comes up for his second throw, we might just head over to the discus, the seated discus, in a sec, and we'll see how they're going. They'll be into their competition, but let's just stick with Jake Baker from New South Wales. He's got the kidney belt on. He's going into his warm-up here now. Not quite happy with the warm-up there, just pulled out, so that's not a foul. We'll get another crack at that one. As Jake Baker comes in to go, he releases the jav. And it makes a pretty decent mark. Once again, white flag's up. So into the second round here in the men's ambulant javelin throw. And we'll be getting 6 rounds there. But moving over to the discus now. And I can tell you in the men's and women's secured event, things are heating up. In the women, we've got Lenore Ernst from South Australia, Bridie Moore from Victoria, Amanda Chark from South Australia. We'll get back to the discus in just a moment. And running through the men's discus secured once again is Ben Lorimer from Queensland, Jesse White from Victoria, Darren McKenna from Queensland, and Dennis Ramsey from Victoria, Craig Jarrett from New South Wales. Big Queenslander Latisse lets another one rip, the left-hander. A no-nonsense style there from the Queenslander. And we'll get a look at the women's under-20 heptathlon high jump. That'll be kicking off very shortly. They might already be into their competition. No, I think they're still warming up there. And then next on track, we're going to be seeing the big boys in the men's open decathlon. They'll be coming out at 12:25 for the 100 metres. And we're also going to see in the women's heptathlon, the open heptathlon, the 100 metre hurdles. So that'll be coming up at 12:45. Seeing coaches and officials having a discussion over in the throwing cage, just working out some issues perhaps with the circle there. So we'll keep you posted on that event. We might have a little look at the high jump just to the right of that. So this is the women's heptathlon. They'll be getting ready for their high jump, the under 20 women's heptathlon. Looks like we'll also be having the under 17 and under 18 women combining with this one as well. So they'll all be jumping together. As we see the women just making their final preparations before the tracksuits will come off and the serious jumps will start after that. So that's all action in the field here at the moment at Lakeside Stadium, Victoria. And if you love your athletics, folks, you're in for a feast. Some of the best track and field athletes in Australia and the world. I've just seen Sally Pearson and her coach Anthony Drinkwater just enter the stadium. So they're just getting a feel for the conditions. And we saw Sally Pearson lighting up the track only 2 weeks ago in the women's 100 hurdles and the women's 100 metres. Taking both of them out, and there'll be great anticipation. There's always a hush around the stadium when Sally's on the track. We look forward to seeing her in action later in the meet. So still with the javelin there, and that was Jake Baker with his third throw. And the athletes will get a short break here. They're just putting the tracksuits on, gather their thoughts, prepare for the next 3 rounds. That seems to be the halfway point in that event. Just focusing down there on the women's under 20, under 17, under 18 heptathlon high jump. And how about we go through a little rundown on just how the standings in this heptathlon competition is looking after 1 round in the 100 metre hurdles. And I can tell you, in the under 17s, it was Ashley Styler taking that one out. So she's on 862 points. Grace Weir from New South Wales, 805 points. Madison Trainer in 3rd place currently on 702 points. In the women's under 18 heptathlon, after the first event, we had Nicole Maynard. She's on 882 points. Jacinta Fisher, 870 points. And Rachel Lindbergh on 832 points. And in the women's under 20 heptathlon after 1 round, Cassidy Simmons from Queensland, 891. Shannon O'Dempsey, 890. And Alicia Burnett, 839. So we'll be keeping you posted with the updates on how those point scores are going throughout the course of the day. But it's all eyes on the high jump in the women's junior heptathlon. As we mentioned earlier, places on the team to Oregon. The World Junior Championships later this year are on the line here. We had the National Junior Championships just up in Sydney a few weeks ago. And a big team, the biggest team ever selected for the World Junior Championships, and hoping to see lots of great performances over there in Oregon later in the year in July. And some of these athletes that we're seeing today will be booking their place on the plane when this event completes tomorrow afternoon. As we see the action kicking back off again in the men's ambulance javelin throw. This will be round 4. Jake Baker having his 4th throw. We see the Kiwi coming out, Rory McSweeney. Looking to build on their early rounds here. Secure a big throw. Hopefully big enough to take out the win here. See McSweeney coming through. And that is a big throw. That could be one of the biggest of the day we've seen. He's really letting them go now as he warms up into his throwing, McSweeney. And we'll wait to see just how far that is when we get the final results through. But that looks to be a big, big mark there, and he'll be happy with that. Crowd just starting to build here. Lakeside Stadium, hoping to see it really swell for the afternoon session. If you're watching in Melbourne and you're thinking about coming down, I can tell you the weather's actually pretty nice down here at the moment. Pretty still. It's getting brighter by the minute. I think we're in for a nice sunny afternoon. And from the ACT, we have Jaden Sawyer, the left-hander. Release looks good. He's got some good distance on that. The throw looks fair. So some good launches coming out of the javelin, the men's ambulant javelin throw. Not far away at all from a start in the women's heptathlon. As we see young Sam Page from South Australia. See how he can go with his round 4 throw. Coaches and supporters in the background there. In comes Page, lets it go, and that is a pretty good throw. I think that's actually gone a bit further than his previous few releases. So building slowly here. And this is Jake Baker from New South Wales coming in. He's in the F46 classification. Good height on that jav release there. And another strong throw there from Baker. Just a quick shout out to all the officials in action over the Australian Athletics Championships this week. Spoke to a lot of them last night in one of the hotels here in Melbourne, and they are very excited. And it's great to see the buzz there from the officials, and they put in a great work in athletics. These meets just wouldn't happen without them, so a big thanks to all the officials out there. And if you're an official watching in any state of Australia, a hat tip to you guys, and thanks for all your work you've done over the season. We even had a few officials making a cameo on the tartan couch earlier this morning, getting their photo taken next to Clyde. So great work. Officials might even catch up for a little interview with a few of the guys during the week as well. But we're sticking with the men's ambulant javelin here. And looks to be the man in black. Coming down the runway, Kiwi Rory McSweeney comes into shot now. Gets ready for the release. It's nice and high. He's got a lot of purchase on that. I think that's bigger again. Rory McSweeney drawing a warm applause from the supporters there. It's a fair throw. And we see a host of sponsors making this meet possible. And a big thanks to the Australian Government and the Australian Sports Commission, the State Government Victoria, Be The Influence, Adidas, Art Series Hotel Group, 2XU Compression, the Commonwealth Games, Australia, and Athletics International and the Australian Paralympic Committee. Big thanks to all our sponsoring partners. And it's Sam Page from South Australia coming in. He lets one go, and that looks to be out there as well. I'm calling that. That might be his biggest throw yet. Young South Australian in the F37 classification. And that heralds the appearance of big Jake Baker from New South Wales. Must be coming up to pretty much the last round of throws here. Once we're finished with the men's ambulant javelin, we'll be taking you over to the women's heptathlon high jump action. Still some delays in the seated discus throw. Officials tending to that at the moment, so we'll let you know when that gets back underway. It's a men and women combined event. We just saw Jacob Phillips there from New Zealand. Unfortunately not a fair throw, getting the foul there, and the dreaded red flag from the official. And just a reminder, folks, you can get involved yourself if you're watching at home and you're on your laptop or mobile device. You can get in touch with us via the hashtag AAC14 or the hashtag Tartan Couch. And here's a tweet we got from Aaliyah Johnson. She's watching up there in Queensland. She's a junior triple jumper sitting out the heptathlon today. She also enjoys the multi events, but she says all set up for day one of the combined events. Multis do it better. And she's got a great picture there of the laptop, so shout out to Aaliyah Johnson. I know she's a headbanded as well. Doesn't mind wearing the headband when she jumps. So great to know we're getting some views from up there in Queensland as we see another big throw there. And that's Rory Sutherland. And that looked like another big throw there from Jaden Sawyer from the ACT. And it looks like that might be the completion of the men's ambulant javelin throw. We'll get you the final results, folks, as soon as they come to hand. And some other action on Twitter, and this was from @Mossy and Robbo. And look who's back. That's right, the Tartan Couch in all its glory. It's back. You can use the hashtag Tartan Couch as well as the official event hashtag AAC14. And that's Clyde on the couch there. He's the official mascot of the Glasgow 2014 Commonwealth Games. And you might see him featuring throughout the week here at the National Champs. He's a big hit with a lot of the athletes, especially the women's open 800 metre ladies. They're a big fan of Clyde. As we see the officials just tidying up the results there for the men's ambulant javelin throw, and we'll have those results to you as quick as we can. We might turn our attention to the other end of the track, where we can hopefully have a good look at the heptathlon high jump. So we're going to have two mats going for this one. So we see Rachel Gould here from Queensland jumping simultaneously. What a shot. We've got the two jumps there. Unfortunately, a foul for Gould. And just to point out what we've got going on here, so we've got the women's under 17 and under 18. That's a combined event, and that's on the far mat that you can see there now. So the mat that Rachel Gould just jumped on there, that's the under 17, under 18 competition. On the near mat, as we see athlete just coming over there and clearing that easily. You see there, looks like the athlete from Queensland. And so that's the under 20 women's heptathlon high jump. And that's Emily Charlson from Queensland just clearing that one. So lots of action in the women's heptathlon high jump. It's very busy down there at the lake end of the track. And in the background there we can see the seated discus. That's men's and women's. Currently taking place there, and we'll get you some updates there as we can. But we're getting some great shots here of the women's heptathlon high jump. So it's the under 20s on the near mat and the under 17s, under 18s on the far mat. And here we have seated discus, and we see a good throw there. We'll try and get back to some coverage there at the seated discus. 3 in the women's and 5 in the men's, as we see that Weir from New South Wales not making that jump there in the under 20s. And that looked like Gould from Queensland clearing her next attempt. So if you're a fan of the high jump, and if you don't mind your women's heptathlons, then there's a feast of action down here at Lakeside Stadium this morning. Nice easy clearance there from the Queensland athlete. There's a lot of talk and anticipation for the women's open high jump event this week. Plenty of positions to be decided there. And Eleanor Patterson from Victoria will be leading the way. She's jumped an Australian junior record of 1.96 m. She came pretty close to that at the Melbourne World Challenge, a couple of weeks ago, with a 1.92 from memory. She's doing great things in women's high jump for Australia. Touted as a potential medalist over there at Glasgow in the 2014 Commonwealth Games. Had the option to obviously go to the World Juniors in Oregon, but she's going to be travelling to Glasgow. Looks like the athlete from Tasmania there getting a successful clearance. Just having a chat with Mark Howard up here in the commentary box, former Australian representative in the high jump, playing around with the idea of synchronised high jump. Could that become an option? It's some great action here. As we see the Queenslander Emily Charlson making way from New South Wales. This is like Weir again. She narrowly misses that jump. Sorry, that was Grace Weir from New South Wales there. So we see a few tweets coming through here. Cheeky one at the top there about the Kiwis. Great to have them on board. Stephanie George, she says she's got a free period coming up. Should I study or watch AAC 14? Surely school's out while the Australian Athletics champs are on. Public holiday, you'd think. Decisions. Well, there you go, Stephanie. I think you know the answer to that one. And a great one here from Australia's fastest female, Mel Breen. And a big shout out to Mel. We'll see her lighting up the track later in the week. She says, watching the AAC 14 live stream before I fly down to Melbourne, doing an awesome job. So big thanks to Mel Breen, and she's no stranger to the Tartan Couch, and we hope to get her back on there for a chat later in the week. So keep the tweets coming, folks. It's great to catch up with you and see and hear where you're listening and watching from. Send us a photo if you're keen. You might be in your pyjamas still, or you might have the Ugg boots on if you're anywhere in southern Australia. It's a little chilly. Warming the hands around a cup of tea. You might be up in Queensland sweating it out. So send us a photo, folks. Give us a shout out. Where are you watching the Australian Athletics Championships live stream? You might be on a tartan couch of your very own. Next up is Queenslander. Wobbling the bar a little, but that's Styler. Shaking the head. She's cleared it, but only just. So as we see the women's heptathlon high jump getting in deep into the competition here, I can tell you coming up in a matter of 15 minutes. It'll be the men's open decathlon, and they'll be opening up their event with the 100 metres. I can see the blocks and the officials are getting ready down here on the track just in front of us. And coming up at 11:45 local time will be the women's under 20 heptathlon. At 12:45, we've got the women's open heptathlon 100 metre hurdles. So both open multi-events, the decath and the heptathlon, opening up their events in about 15 minutes or so. So that's going to be great to see. Stay tuned from that. Lots of busy work over there in the throwing cage. I can tell you that's the men's and women's secure discus throw. Just waiting for our final results from the men's ambulant javelin. So we'll keep you posted with results as they do come to hand. But it's a big day for multi-sport, multi-events down here at Lakeside Stadium today. Some of the fittest athletes in the business, and wait till you see the open men's and women's come out for the decathlon and the heptathlon. Australia, of course, with a rich history in women's heptathlon. Names like Jane Fleming, Glynis Nunn. And can Sophie Stanwell add her name to that list of Australian heptathlon legends? And in the men's, we'll be seeing Steve Kane, young Jake Steen stepping up to the senior ranks. Lots of excitement about Jake. He's a gold medalist at the World Youth Championships. So just a reminder, folks, we'll be taking you through to 1 o'clock local time. That's 45 minutes before we'll adjourn and then come back for the afternoon, evening session. And some great events coming up there. We're going to see the women's hammer throw qualification. We're going to see more events in the heptathlon and the decathlon. We'll be seeing the men's and women's 400 metres first round. Some big names in that. The men's 800 metres first round. Another tweet coming in through here. This is from @Stacey Coppas. She says she's loving the AAC 14 live stream, seeing the para athletes in action, hoping for some sunshine for my race on Saturday. Well, we're hoping for that too, Stacey. Thanks for getting in touch with us. And if someone wants to do a little sunshine dance for us out in the middle of the field, that'd be great. But I'll tell you what, it's not too bad. Only a breath of breeze across the track. Temperature probably building to 17 degrees, maybe 18 degrees. Quite a charming Melbourne day, you'd have to say. Just a quick update in the men's decathlon. Point standing, Cedric Dubler from Queensland, 8.19. Lachlan Culver, 7.78. Third place, Scott Sidley, 7.59. Aaron Booth, 7.55. David Thompson, 7.46. Blake Price, 7.07. James Coles, 6.31. That's the men's under 20 decathlon. We'll keep you updated with how those points go throughout the day. And we're going to see these men head over to the high jump pit. Head over to the long jump pit on the far side of the track here. And that'll be the under 20 men, under 17, under 18 decathlon. They'll be in the long jump very shortly. We'll be sticking with the women's high jump in the heptathlon. Lots of action happening there. And the seated discus throw also happening at the moment. Oh, look out. Here we have Alex Rowe at Alexander Rowe _ and he says Darcy Sutton and me watching the AAC 14 live stream and loving it. So there you go. Give us a shout out. Well, there you go, boys. Consider that your shout out for the day. You're now officially famous. And Alex Rowe, we look forward to seeing him going around later on tonight, in fact, in the first round of the men's 800 metres. And that is going to be one of the showcase events. We've got Alex Rowe joining Jeff Risley, who's eyeing off an 800 and 1500 metre double, which doesn't happen too often these days. And throw in there Josh Ralph, And they are the 3 R's of men's 400 metre racing at the moment. Jared West also with the B qualifier, so any of those guys with their qualifiers takes the win, and you would imagine it will be out of those 4. They'll essentially be booking their flight. They're booking their place on the plane to Glasgow for the men's 800 metres. First round coming up later today, 6:30 p.m. local time. And here we have Athletics New Zealand. They're giving me a bit of a touch-up here. They say, thanks, Robbo. We prefer to think that Australia is virtually part of New Zealand. 63 Kiwis competing in Melbourne at the Champs AAC 14. Well, there you go. Those Kiwis always punching above their weight. And 63 of them. Well done. Great to have them here. And they're coming off their national champs last week. So if that wasn't enough for them, they're here to line up in the Australian national champs as well. And big warm welcome to all the Kiwis here. I was speaking to one of the officials. He's from New Zealand. Big fan of the Tartan Couch. Cheering us all the way to Glasgow. So see more of this sort of action over at the Commonwealth Games. You can use the hashtag #GetMossy and Robbo to Glasgow. And use the hashtag Tartan Couch. And we're going to be featuring the Tartan Couch, especially on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be getting Mossy down here and really hyping things up from the Tartan Couch, joining Clyde down there. But for now, we're sticking with the women's heptathlon high jump. No, there'll be some mums and dads and some family members watching some of their favourite athletes going around here, and that's the beauty of the live stream that we're bringing to you this year. All 4 days of the Australian Athletics Championships, you'll be able to cheer your favourite athlete on. So, and we're just seeing the results from the men's ambulant javelin up on the board, and it's Jaden Sawyer in the F38 classification with a 42.58. So obviously there's some mixed classifications here. I'll just read them out. Rory McSweeney from New Zealand, 45.35. Jason Latisse, the big Queenslander, 37.02. Jake Baker from New Zealand, 96. Daniel Jennings, 27.92. Jacob Phillips from New Zealand, 23.68. And Sam Page from South Australia, 25.36. So there you go, folks. That's the men's ambulant final, and a big congratulations to our champions there. We're going to be getting some medal presentations throughout the day and throughout the meet as well, so we'll keep you posted with that. So we're looking here at the men's ambulant javelin throw medal presentation, and taking the gold medal from the ACT is Jaden Sawyer in the F38 classification. And in second place, the Queenslander, big Jason Lettuce. So just to point out, folks, the overall standings are worked out as a percentage of your classification against the world record for that classification. So we're seeing in third place here from New South Wales, Jake Baker in the F46 classification. And we saw some great throwing from Jake Baker. And we also see Rory McSweeney out there being acknowledged and making his way up onto the podium now. And he will receive a medallion for placing second overall. And obviously being a Kiwi, one of the 63 Kiwis here, not eligible for the Australian national champs, but getting a medal nonetheless there. And we see the athletes congratulating themselves, each other there, in a great show of sportsmanship. And there's a tight bond between all the field athletes, all encouraging themselves to perform to the best of their abilities. And great work there in the men's ambulant javelin throw. And things are getting serious when we're handing out medals, folks, and we're going to be seeing lots of that happening throughout the week. We're going to shortly be turning our attention down to the track again as we see the blocks are set up. So on the track here we see the first of 3 finals in the men's open decathlon. In lane 4 from New Zealand, Stephen Buckley. In lane 5 from Queensland, Ben Brown. Lane 6 from New South Wales, Andrew Neville. From South Australia in lane 7, Jared Sims. And from Victoria in lane 8 will be Ben Cook. The first of 3 finals in the men's open 100 metres. And they're off in the first of 3 finals. And it looks like Stephen Buckley might take this one from New Zealand. Crosses the line first. Looks like Ben Brown, Andrew Neville, Jared Sims up there as well. Unofficial time of 11:31. Wind, tailwind of 0.8. So Stephen Buckley there from New Zealand, continuing the Kiwi success of the morning, taking out the first of the 3 men's open decathlon finals for the 100 metres. We see a time there of 11.30. Stephen Buckley from New Zealand taking the win from Ben Brown from Queensland, 11.38. So just running through the final results there in the first of 3 finals, men's decathlon 100 metres, and we had Stephen Buckley from New Zealand, 11.30. From Andrew Neville from New South Wales, 11.38. Jared Sims from South Australia, 3rd in 11.41. In 4th place, Ben Cook from Victoria, 11.54. And in 5th place from Queensland, Ben Brown in 11.59. Only moments away from the second final of the 3. And I can tell you that from New Zealand, we have in the inside lanes, there's 3 Kiwis in this race. From lane 2, we have Brent Newdick in lane 3. Nicholas Gerard, also from New Zealand, from lane 4. In Victoria, Stephen Kane. From lane 5, also Victoria, Hamish Nelson. From WA in lane 6, Wesley Salisbury. From Queensland in lane 7, Chris Ensby. From Queensland in lane 8, Martin Clark. And another Kiwi in lane 9, Luke Davison. Always interesting to see the body shapes in the men's decathlon. Remember, these guys have got to be pretty handy at not only running fast, but throwing and jumping as well. Steve Kane, Victorian. Nice little treat there from Mr. Holmes, thank you. He's the starter over there in Perth for the Perth Track Classic. Great to have viewers from WA watching. Still mid-morning for them over there. They'll just be having their morning tea or coffee. I hope the sun's shining for you over there in Perth, as it often is. So not far from a start here in the second of 3 finals, the men's open decathlon, 100 metres. And the Kiwi in lane 2, Brent Newdick, comes out pretty well. But looking at in the green here, looks like it could be Chris Ensby taking that one out there. An unofficial time of 11.11. So we're getting pretty quick there, getting down to the low 11s. The wind of 0.3, a tailwind. But I'd say that's Chris Ensby taking that one out there, the Queenslander. These guys will be battling it out over the next couple of days, over 9 more events. So they'll head back to the sheds now, rest up, and get ready for their next event. And just looking at the all-time Australian Open decathlete records, and in the 100 metres, the fastest time ever recorded is 10.83 by Matt McEwen from Queensland. That was in 1997. That's moving along. Coming up next, we've got the third and final of the men's 100 metres decathlon, and look for Jake Steen in this one. He'll be in lane 3. Jake Steen from New South Wales, a former winner of the under-20s national champs back in 2012. And his brother Reece Steen, also a pretty handy multi-event athlete. He's qualified for the World Junior Championships in the Javelin, I believe. So the Steen family in Sydney. Don't know what they're feeding him, but Mr. and Mrs. Steen keeping the boys going very well on the track and in the field. So we're just going through the start list here in the third final. And from Victoria in lane 2, we'll have Chris White. Jake Steen in lane 3 from New South Wales. In lane 4 from New South Wales, Andy Pedrana. In lane 5 from Victoria, we have David Brock. In lane 6 from Queensland, Cam Crowley. In lane 7 from New South Wales, Kyle Cranston, another athlete who's recorded a B qualifier in the men's decathlon. In lane 8 from New South Wales, we have the New South Wales 6 consecutive state champion, Matt Harris. He's from Rutherford, up in the Hunter Valley, just west of Newcastle. And in lane 9, we have from Victoria, Aaron Page. So a pretty stacked field in this one. Look for Cranston, Harris, Jake Steen. And these are some of the best all-round athletes going in Australia. Jake Steen His idol is Daley Thompson, the great British decathlete from yesteryear. And he's set himself a challenge of wanting to be the best athlete in the world, the greatest athlete in the world. And there's really no argument. If you can be the world champion in this discipline, the decathlon, you can probably take that claim. Crowley, Brock in the middle lanes there, Andy Padrana, lane 4 next to Steen. The runner's almost set. And they're away, fast out of the blocks. Runners in the middle there, that's David Brock from Victoria. He's got the lead as we go through halfway. Coming on the outside of him is Cam Crowley from Queensland, but I think Brock's going to have it from Crowley. And on the inside there, Andy Padrana from New South Wales. They are the quick guys there, and a time of 11.14 unofficial, with a 0.4 tailwind as pushing them down the track. Actually, a nice tailwind of 1.2 metres per second, helping them along their way down the 100-metre stretch there. So as the athletes congratulate themselves, there's Matt Harris from the Rutherford Club up in the Hunter Valley. David Brock, our winner there from Victoria. They'll go and get a drink, maybe a banana, something to eat, get some energy on board. Burn through a lot of calories, these guys. In the multi-events, they've got to keep their fluid and their energy levels high. It's a big 2-day event. They'll recover well tonight, hopefully get a big sleep, come out all firing again tomorrow. So just going through the unofficial results there. David Brock from Victoria, 11.12, taking the win. We'll get back to you with the other results very shortly. Hurdles are being set up on the track here now. And we'll be shortly looking to kick off the women's Open Heptathlon 100-metre hurdles. Not far away from our next medal presentation as well. And we're into probably the closing stages of the high jump competition in the junior heptathlon, the women's junior heptathlon. And we've got our medal ceremony taking place now. This is the women's discus secured final, and I can tell you, taking the gold medal and the new national champion from Victoria, throwing 10.44 in the F33 classification, is Bridie Moore. And in second place, and winner of the silver medal in a distance of 12.01, from South Australia, Amanda Shark. And in third place, and winner of the bronze medal from South Australia, throwing 12.18 metres, Lenore Ernst. As the crowd gives a warm applause there for the women's secured discus throw medalists, and the South Australians taking a bit of the silverware there with a silver and a bronze. Another tweet here. This is from @TJ Mackenzie, and Terrell Mackenzie says, definitely have my day sorted. Great coverage of #AAC14, and here she is with her photo watching the Athletics Australia live stream. Great work. So there you go. Looks pretty set up for the day there. Well done. Just a reminder, let's send us through, folks. Where are you watching from? You might be on the ferry up in Sydney. You might be on top of a mountain somewhere in Tasmania, Cradle Mountain perhaps. Wherever you're watching all around Australia and indeed New Zealand and the rest of the world, let us know where you're watching from. Take a photo, send it through. Use the hashtag AAC14. You can also use the hashtag TartanCouch. And we see the athletes in the women's open heptathlon 100-metre hurdles being introduced, and from South Australia in lane 3, Amy Blandon. Also from South Australia in lane 4, Lauren Foote. From Queensland in lane 5, Sarah Wood. From Victoria in lane 6, Anne Osborne. In lane 7 from New Zealand, Portia Bing. And in lane 8, it's Alana Withnell from New South Wales. It's the first of 2 finals. And they're off. And we see Bing from New Zealand taking the early lead. She's got a 3-metre lead at the moment. Lani Withnell on the outside, and on the inside, a couple of challenges, but it's all Portia Bing in lane 7 from New Zealand taking the win out there. And an unofficial time of 14.11. Wind still pushing them down the track here. It's a nice 1.2 metre tailwind. And I know all the sprinters around the country will be licking their lips and hoping for something like that when they get their chance to take to the track later this week. But it's Portia Bing from New Zealand taking the win there, 14.09. That was the first of 2 finals. The second coming up very shortly. This is the Women's Open Heptathlon 100-metre hurdles. So the results there in the first final: Portia Bing from New Zealand 14.09, Alana Withnell from New South Wales 15.09. Third was Lauren Foote from South Australia 15.33. So that was your first, second and third in the first of 2 finals. Big thanks again to our sponsors: the Australian Sports Commission, the Victorian State Government, Be The Influence, Adidas, Art Series Hotel Group, 2XU, Compression, Commonwealth Games Australia, Athletics International, and the Australian Paralympic Committee. So the Women's Open Heptathlon. Sophie Stanwell, the pick of the field, you'd have to say. The only athlete who has achieved the Commonwealth Games B qualifier so far. That was earlier this year in January. She's the New South Wales state champion. She hails from Georgetown in Newcastle. She's one of our brightest young prospects in the women's heptathlon. So she's looking to get a good start in the event with this 100-metre hurdles. And it's time now to introduce our athletes in the second final of the women's 100-metre hurdles heptathlon. And from New South Wales, we have Jackie Fry in lane 2. In lane 3 from WA, Kobe Evans. In lane 4, we have Ruby Holton from Victoria. Lane 5 from Victoria, we have Ashley Hamilton. Lane 6 from New South Wales, Sophie Stanwell. In lane 7 from WA, Kiara Redingius. And in lane 8 from New South Wales, Phoebe Pegg. They're off in the second final of the women's heptathlon 100 metres hurdles, and it's pretty close. Sophie Stanwell's out there in front. On the inside of her is Ashley Hamilton from Victoria, but it's Hamilton with a hurdle to go. Looks like she's going to take the win here from Sophie Stanwell in a very impressive time of 14.18 unofficial. and a 0.7 tailwind pushing them down the track there. So Ashley Hamilton taking the win there in the second final from Victoria. Sophie Stanwell not far behind at all from New South Wales in second place. So we're just seeing the times there. 14.16 for Hamilton, 14.29 for Sophie Stanwell. So their events are underway. The women's heptathlon. Always good to get that first one out of the way. Ruby Holton from Victoria picking up the third position there in a 15.26. So these women opening up their points accounts. It's all about the points in these multi-events. And I'd say they'll be fairly happy with how that run's gone. Jackie Fry there in fourth position from New South Wales with a 15.44, and Chiara Redingus from WA in a 15.49. Sixth place was Phoebe Pegg in 15.65. Seventh place from WA in a time of 15.85 was Kobe Evans. So just a reminder, folks, we'll be taking a break at 1 o'clock, so that's in 10 minutes' time. And we'll be back for the afternoon session, starting 4 p.m, so just over 3 hours' time. And we've got some more great action from Lakeside Stadium coming up at the 92nd Australian Athletics Championships and Commonwealth Games trials. Coming up to the closing stages of the women's junior heptathlon high jump. We'll keep you posted with how that event does finish up. And over in the throwing cage there, we've still got some action happening in the discus. So as our luck here with the weather just seems to have come to an end, we've got a bit of rain, the light rain just falling at the moment. It's only really, drizzly rain. It's causing some of the officials and the athletes and coaches to just reach for the umbrellas and the raincoats, as you can see there. And we're going to take this opportunity to bid you farewell. We're going to go to a break now and be back for the afternoon session. That'll be kicking off at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So that's in approximately 3 hours' time. And we look forward to having your company back here at Lakeside Stadium, where hopefully the sun will be out and we'll see some more great track and field action. You are watching the 92nd Australian Athletics Championships and Commonwealth Games trials.